Okay, ready to dive in. We're tackling how to become a water-based aquaculture technician. Those folks keeping underwater farms thriving. It's hands-on, it's high-tech, and we've got RoleCatcher's career and interview guides right here to help us out.
It's a field that's exploding right now, and these guides are amazing for anyone serious about aquaculture.
So picture this. You're face-to-face with a hiring manager, and they hit you with, describe your experience with water-based aquaculture systems. What's your go-to move?
Time to really shine. Don't just list off old jobs. Get into the specifics, cages, rafts, long lines that tells them you know the real deal. And RoleCatcher's AI, it actually picks up on those keywords from job descriptions so you can tailor your answers. How cool is that?
It's like a secret weapon for your resume and interviews. But what if most of your experience is with, say, freshwater tanks? How do you make that connection clear?
That's where you play up those transferable skills. Maybe you're great at monitoring water quality or handling pumps. Those are essential no matter the system. It's about connecting the dots for them.
Okay, so you've aced question one. Then they throw, how do you maintain water quality in an aquaculture system?
I'm getting flashbacks to high school chemistry.
Don't sweat it. It's about showing you understand how it works in practice. Think of it like this. You're creating a comfy home for the fish, right? That means pH levels, dissolved oxygen, ammonia, all that has to be just right.
So you're like a fish doctor, but instead of prescriptions, it's all about the perfect environment.
Exactly. Talk about the tests you'd run regularly, using the right equipment. Show them you're proactive. RoleCatcher's AI feedback is great for this. It can analyze what you're saying and suggest ways to make it even stronger.
Like a personal coach right in your pocket. But what if they hit you with a curveball? What are some common diseases that can affect fish in an aquaculture system? Pop quiz time.
This is where you've got to do your homework. Bacterial infections, parasites, viruses, know them all. But don't just rattle off a list. Talk about how you'd spot the warning signs early on, because preventing problems is key in this field. So you're not just showing off textbook knowledge. You're proving you can apply it in the real world.
Exactly. Mention quarantine protocols, vaccination programs. Those are music to a hiring manager's ears.
Okay, next up. Describe your experience with fish breeding and reproduction. This one feels a little personal, right?
Let's keep it strictly professional. They want to know you understand the breeding cycle. Water temperature, light, diet, all those things impact, well, fish romance.
So if you've worked with induced spawning or different hatchery methods, now is the time to mention that.
Absolutely. And if you're ever unsure how much detail to give, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze your answer and give you feedback. No more guessing.
That's amazing. Okay, ready for another one?
Hit me with it.
All right, how about this? Describe your experience with fish health management. Isn't that basically the same as the disease question?
Not quite. This is about the big picture. It's preventing those problems before they even start. Think biosecurity protocols, record keeping. Knowing the regulations, that level of detail shows you're not just there to feed fish, you're there to protect them.
So you're creating a system where disease outbreaks are less likely to happen in the first place.
Exactly. And speaking of systems, have you heard of a bouchot? It's an old French method for growing mussels that actually makes the surrounding water cleaner. Even ancient techniques can teach us things.
That's incredible. So you need to know the science, but also see the bigger picture. That's a true water-based aquaculture technician.
You got it. And that's what will make you stand out in an interview.
Okay, switching gears a bit. How do you ensure the safety and well-being of workers in an aquaculture facility? Because things can get a little slippery out there, to say the least.
Safety is number one. Here's where you show you're proactive. Talk about any safety training you've had, hazard identification, emergency procedures, all that good stuff.
So things like first aid and CPR certifications would be really valuable to have on your resume.
For sure. And don't underestimate things like proper lifting techniques. You're dealing with heavy equipment, so those little details make a big difference for safety.
A safe team is a productive team. Speaking of which, let's talk about those high-pressure times, stocking new fish, harvesting.
Stocking and harvesting. Those are make-or-break moments for water quality. One slip-up and disaster.
So how would you answer this one? How do you manage water quality during those events?
It's all about minimizing stress for the fish and yourself.
I like that. So what are some practical steps you can take?
Slow and steady wins the race. Acclimate the fish to new water slowly. Monitor oxygen levels constantly. Make sure there's enough space to prevent overcrowding. Stressed out fish are more likely to get sick.
And nobody wants a fish rebellion on their hands.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about maintaining that delicate balance and showing you can think ahead and anticipate those potential problems.
We've covered a lot. Water quality, diseases, breeding, safety. That's a lot for a water-based aquaculture technician to handle.
It's demanding, no doubt, but for the right person, it's an incredibly rewarding job.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's circle back to career advancement. What does that look like in this field?
The great news is there's a lot of room to grow. You could start as a technician and move up to managing a whole team. Or you could specialize in something like breeding, fish health, even designing those high-tech farms of the future.
So it's not just a job, it's a whole career path with serious potential. But how do you show that ambition and drive in an interview?
It's all about connecting the dots for them. Let's say they ask about your experience with recirculating aquaculture systems, or RAS. Don't just say you've worked with them. Explain how that experience made you appreciate water conservation and sustainability in aquaculture.
That's brilliant. You're showing off your technical side and your passion for the future of the industry.
Exactly. And that passion is contagious. It shows them you're not just there for a paycheck. You're there to make a difference.
I love that. Okay, we've covered a ton, but there's still so much more to explore.
Absolutely. From essential skills and certifications to the challenges and rewards of this exciting field, we've got even more insights to share to help you ace that interview and launch your career as a water-based aquaculture technician.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick break to dive even deeper into the world of aquaculture.
You know, RoleCatcher's really onto something with how they've made interview prep so much easier, That AI feedback is seriously a game changer.
Totally, like
Oh,
having a personal career coach.
yeah.
But let's talk about those important skills that go beyond just the technical stuff, teamwork, communication, that sort of thing.
Those are essential, even out on the water. You're always going to be part of a team, so communication is key. Like, if they ask you about a time you had to explain a tricky procedure to a coworker, use that as your chance to shine.
So instead of just saying, I told them how to do it, you could actually describe how you broke it down into smaller steps or maybe use diagrams or something.
Exactly. That shows you get how important clear communication is when you're working with others.
Makes sense. And I bet problem-solving skills come in handy a lot in this line of work. Things don't always go according to plan, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Pumps break down, power goes out, weather throws a curveball. You got to think on your feet and stay level-headed. When they ask about a challenge you faced, don't just tell them what went wrong, walk them through how you tackled it.
So instead of the pump died, it was a total mess. More like, when the pump malfunctioned, I immediately put our backup plan into action, which involved doing X, Y, and Z. That minimized downtime and kept the fish safe.
Spot on. That shows you can assess the situation, find a solution, and act decisively. Hiring managers love to hear that.
It's that whole stay calm and carry on thing, but with, extra fly food. And speaking of going above and beyond, what about certifications? Do any of those give you an edge in this field?
Absolutely. They're not always mandatory, but certifications show you're serious about your professional development. Things like an Aquaculture Technician certification, or one for aquatic animal health, even water quality. Those can really make your application stand out.
It's like the difference between saying you're a strong swimmer and being a certified lifeguard.
Right.
It just gives you that extra credibility.
Exactly. And those certifications cover everything from water treatment to disease management to biosecurity, all crucial stuff. It proves to potential employers that you've put in the time and effort to learn the ropes.
So it's about putting your money where your mouth is. Show them you're not just all talk.
Precisely. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the physical side of things. It's not all just staring at computer screens and testing water, right?
Definitely not. This is a hands-on job. You're out in the elements, rain or shine, often lifting heavy stuff, and on your feet for hours.
Exactly. So be upfront about your ability to handle the physical demands. If you've got experience working outdoors, even if it's not directly related to aquaculture, mention it.
So even something like, say, hauling boxes in a warehouse or doing landscaping on the weekends could be relevant.
100%. It tells them you're not afraid of hard work and you can handle the physical demands of the job.
It's all about making those connections for them, showing how your past experiences have prepared you, even if they don't seem directly related.
Exactly. Speaking of being prepared, have you thought about what questions you might ask at the end of an interview? It's your chance to show you're genuinely interested and learn more about the role and the company.
Oh, that's a great point. It's easy to get so caught up in answering their questions that you forget you're interviewing them too.
Precisely. Instead of asking those generic questions like, what are the benefits or when can I start? Go for something with a bit more depth, like what are some of the biggest challenges the company is facing and how does this role play a part in overcoming them?
Ooh, that's a good one. It shows you're thinking big picture and you're eager to contribute your skills and make a real difference.
Exactly. Or you could ask something like, what opportunities are there for professional development and advancement within the company? Shows ambition and that you're thinking long term.
I love those suggestions. It's about moving beyond the surface and showing you've really considered your career goals and how this specific company fits in with your aspirations.
You got it. Now, before we move on, I want to emphasize something crucial: passion. This field is not for the faint of heart. It takes dedication to really thrive as a water-based aquaculture technician.
It's about more than just a paycheck, right?
Yeah,
It's a love for the water, a fascination with aquatic life, wanting to contribute to sustainable food.
precisely. That passion will shine through in your interview. When you're genuinely excited about something, it's infectious.
It's like they say, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe not literally, but you get the idea.
I hear you. And I think that's a great place to wrap up this segment. We've covered a lot, but there's one more vital aspect of interview prep we need to address. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. We've talked skills, certifications, physical demands, even passion. What else is there?
Well, even with all the preparation in the world, interviews can still be nerve-wracking. So in our final segment, we're going to explore some strategies for staying calm, cool, and confident, even when the pressure's on. Stick around.
So we've covered a ton of ground, from the technical ins and outs of aquaculture to really nailing that interview.
And remember, with the right prep, a good dose of passion, and a little boost from resources like RoleCatcher, you'll be well on your way to landing that dream job as a water-based aquaculture technician.
I couldn't agree more. A huge thank you to RoleCatcher for these amazing resources and to all of you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of aquaculture. Until next time, stay curious and keep those career currents flowing.